Hey guys, it's Victoria and Lydia. Say hi. She's got the hiccups. And I'm going to attempt to make a video. I have sat down to make this probably 3 times, and every time I do, I get distracted by one thing or another. So the big kids are watching a movie. It's actually the Halloween Chipmunks movie. I said something about Frankenstein earlier, and Noah said, I want to watch that Chipmunks movie. I said, why did you think of that? And I said, it's because I talked about Frankenstein. And Lydia's happy, and we've got a few minutes, so we're going to try to come on and just do a little chatty vlog. So I wanted to come on and just sort of reflect on my breastfeeding experience this time with Lydia, baby number 3. And I talked about this a lot in my postpartum, my 1-month postpartum video, as well as Lydia's 1-month update. But I wanted to come on now that we are almost 2 months in and we have completely made the switch to formula, and I've had a few weeks to just sort of decompress and reflect on the experience, and I just wanted to share that. And I also know that a lot of people come to YouTube for help and for tips and for stories, especially on topics like breastfeeding. I know I did. And I thought if I did a separate video just on this, it might be easier for people to find, whereas before it was sort of buried in my other video. So if you watch that video, you've probably heard a lot of what I have to say. And if you haven't, then hopefully this is something that will help you. So I did a video, and I'm sorry about my voice. I'm just getting over a really bad cold and laryngitis, so I know I sound kind of hoarse. I did a video a couple months ago just about my breastfeeding journey with the older 2. So I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and 3 children. I've had 3 completely different breastfeeding experiences. And I talked at length about the first 2 in that other video, so I'll put that below. But just to recap, I breastfed Noah for 4 months, and most of that was half formula, half breastfeeding. And I breastfed Alexandria for a full year. She never had formula. And Lydia, my 3rd baby, who I expected to breastfeed for a year and didn't foresee having any issues, seeing it was my 3rd and I was successful at breastfeeding for a year last time, I only breastfed her for a month. And she had pumped milk for another couple weeks beyond that. So it just goes to show you that you never know. When it comes to anything with babies, nothing is predictable. And I had 3 completely different experiences. So this time, things started out well, and I can't really pinpoint when things started to go in the other direction. She was a good size when she was born, and we only had to really worry about waking her for maybe the first week. And after that, she started waking up on her own to eat, and everything was good then. She was gaining weight. My supply was great. But somewhere along the way, I ended up with, can you say hi? Hi. I can't see you. With a crack in my right nipple. And I had some damage to both sides early, but nothing that was too crazy. But I ended up with this crack, and it just progressively got worse. And I ended up with a fairly large, like chunk missing from my nipple. And I guess it was poor latch. I talked to the people at the Lalesh League. I went to our mother-baby clinic where they have lactation consultants a few times to try to help and to work on the latch. And it looked good to me, and it didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. She didn't have a lip tie or a tongue tie or anything like that. But obviously there was some issue with her latch, especially on that side. I tried different holds, and I would go a day, maybe 2, and things would be okay. And then if she latched on incorrectly for 2 seconds, I'd be right back to square one, and it would open up again. And I wasn't really having much bleeding, but it was really raw looking, and I don't want to get too gross, but it was so excruciatingly painful. Oh, you got your baby. Aww. So painful. I was in tears. I was in agony. It was awful. And I just found that I was spending so much of my day just miserable, just either recovering from a feed or dreading the next feed. And you know, your hormones are all over the place at that point anyway. So to add on top of it that I was physically hurting so often, and it was, you know, obviously she wasn't doing anything intentional, but it's, you start to get these feelings like you're almost of resentment towards the baby because they're doing this to you and you're trying your hardest to do the best thing you can for your child, and you're just in pain. And it was just awful, and I was miserable all day. I would hold her there ready for her to latch on, and I would look at her and just say, okay, be nice to mommy, please don't hurt. And I would just be sweating, and you know, they feed off that too. They know your emotions, and if you're tense, then that makes them tense. And so I was really struggling the last week before I decided to switch, and I was driving home from my parents one night and just in tears, and I thought to myself, I am missing out on enjoying my baby. This is probably our last baby, and I'm missing out on all of these new first special moments. And you know, breastfeeding is supposed to be this bonding experience. I talk about this in my other video that I have sort of had a different approach to breastfeeding than a lot of people, especially those that breastfeed for a longer period of time. Bye. Have a good trip. Just got her little toy car seat. And I never really used breastfeeding to bond or for comfort. For me, I approached it as, you know, breastfeeding. You're back. Did you have a good trip?
Yeah.
Good. I used it as more of a, you know, I used breastfeeding as food and as nourishment and not so much as bonding. But it was definitely not helping me bond with Lydia. So I just thought, what am I doing this for? Like, to what end? And I know I could have got past it. I know I talked to people that said pump on that side, feed on the other, or get a shield, which I did. I got a shield. She did not like it. I tried pretty much everything that people suggested, and I know I could have continued and suffered through it and probably come out on the other side and probably been happy and not regretted that. But I didn't want to give up any more precious early moments for that. For me, it wasn't worth it. So that moment, it was like a switch flipped. You're going to school? Okay, learn lots. She's got a tiny little McDonald's Barbie in her toy car seat. It was like a switch flipped, and I knew what I had to do. And I'd been focusing she's so cute. I'd been focusing so much on the negatives of bottle feeding, like the inconvenience, the washing, the making bottles, the cleaning, having to take them with you. And when I sort of switched you're back, did you have a good day? Did you learn lots?
Yeah.
Good. When I switched my mindset and started thinking of the benefits of bottle feeding, it really helped as well. Yes, it's definitely not as convenient when it comes to the prep work and the maintenance and all that, but she's just so distracting. She's so cute. She's got the hiccup. But there's a lot of convenience to bottle feeding, and being able to let Matthew or my parents or other people help really helps me and helps free my time up for the older kids. She's gotten on a pretty decent eating schedule and not totally sleeping schedule, but and I'll talk about all that in her 2-month update. But I just wanted to share that experience and let people know that just because you had a bad breastfeeding experience the first time or the second time doesn't mean your next experience can't be wonderful, and vice versa. You know, I had three babies and three completely different experiences. Same as my labor and delivery, actually. With all 3 babies, it was completely different. And, you know, if you're out there and you're struggling, and breastfeeding is something you are really committed to, you're back. I encourage you to find support. Lactation consultants, La Leche League, just different mom groups. I posted on a local mom group and got some really good advice. There's resources out there to help you, and if you are really committed to making it work, in most cases you can. And on the other hand, if it's something that's making you completely miserable and you're worried what other people are going to think, or you're worried that you're failing. I hate it when people say I quit, or I failed. You're not failing. You're picking the best choice for you and your baby at that time. You're back. Good. And there's nothing wrong with formula feeding at all. Noah was formula fed from 4 months on. My sister-in-law, she's been a great resource because all 3 of her children were formula fed, and I had a lot of questions because I never formula fed a baby round the clock that needed to be fed during the night and stuff. So I was like, how do you do it? How do you make bottles at night? What do you do? And so she was a great resource, and her three children are beyond intelligent and thriving and wonderful, and certainly not being breastfed did not affect them negatively at all. So I just encourage everyone to find out what works for you and to not be too hard on yourself. You're going where? Back? Going back? Okay. Oh, this child. She took a nap this afternoon. Took a nap. She did take a nap, but not before she pulled out all of her books, all of her stuffed animals, emptied her laundry hamper all over the floor. And then when I had to go get her up to go pick up Noah, she's sound asleep. And oh, it was so funny. Sound asleep in a giant mess. So anyway, that is my my journey, my update at this point. So we've been formula feeding. You're back. I missed you. Aw, she just kissed my arm. I don't think they can see you. You're too little. So yeah, we've been formula feeding exclusively now for probably 2 weeks, and it was half and half pumped milk before that, and I gradually weaned the pumping, cut back a session here and then cut back the quantity, and in the end when I finally stopped, I didn't have any engorgement at all, so that was nice. And I did consider for like a second exclusively pumping, but it only took a second to decide that it just wouldn't be possible with our lifestyle. Even when I was trying to, hey, Noah, be nice. Even when I was trying to wean from breastfeeding and just pumping, we're out so often that it was really hard, like, oh no, I have to pump and I'm going to be gone all afternoon, and it just wouldn't have worked with our lifestyle. But that is something that, if breastfeeding is not working and you are committed to providing breast milk for your baby, check that out as well. There's lots of resources out there. Oh, there's a vlogger that I watched the other day that is exclusively pumping, and I can't remember her channel name. Oh, MC Cubed or something. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'll put it below though. And she is exclusively pumping for her second child. And I watched her video to see sort of how she was doing it. And it didn't take long for me to realize that wasn't for us either. But so no matter how you choose to feed your baby, whatever you choose, what's best for you and for your baby. Sometimes what's best for you is what's best for your baby. And if you're completely miserable, then nobody wins. So yeah, if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, and so will Lydia. And I'll probably do her 2-week update a little bit late just because she has her appointment on the 10th, so she'll be just over 2 months, and I want to get her weighed and measured and stuff before we do that update. So everything is going well. Yes, it is. You're so cute. You're so cute. She just seems so big and grown up to me. All right. Bye, guys.